one of the things I wanted to ask you about, it was written that you saw a chiropractor, and after consulting some medical experts, they decided the only option was to have surgery. And it was written that you had surgery in late 96 on your third, fourth, and fifth cervical bones, and a fusion of the seventh cervical and first, I'm just gonna skip that word. Either way, you had surgery on your neck, and it's written that happened in late 96, and you would be back into the hospital in early 97 with symptoms akin to cardiac arrest. But you and I talked about this off air, and you said that those reports were not completely accurate. What can you clear up for us on that?
Well, the first report about 96, me being in the hospital for weeks and having a surgery and all that stuff, is horseshit. I don't know where that came from. That never happened. The first time I was ever in the hospital for any length of time. Now, like I said, the first two times I told you that I had, a battery of tests and stuff, which was a 1 day in, and we decided we're going to rehab it back. That would be 89, probably 91. But this time, 97 is when I had the surgery, and I was in there 8 days. During that time, I contracted pneumonia, and it didn't take long. It was like a couple days in, I had pneumonia, and the nurse is saying, "Hey, we got to get you up and get you walking." Well, let me tell you about that surgery. In the time that this all occurred and I had the surgery, I had a pretty thick neck by design. I always trained my neck. Wrestler mentality was you had a big thick neck. It would help protect you, as you're always getting dropped on your head or almost getting dropped on your head. So you needed a big thick neck. Well, when we went into surgery, that worked against you because in those days they went through the back, not through the front. And I don't know how to describe this and make it as serious as what it was. But when I woke up, I heard my doctor, my physician, the surgeon say something that I never dreamed I would ever hear come out of a doctor for obvious reasons. I woke up, I looked up, and about 4 or 5 inches from my face was my doctor's face. And he went, "Mr. Lundy, I know I've hurt you." But when I went in there was a lot more damage than I had any idea about it. And I had to, cut you pretty deep because you got a big, thick neck. So whatever medications, whatever we have in this hospital is yours, just ask. Doctors don't say, "I know I've hurt you." I think there's some culpability and liability there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I've never heard a doctor say that ever.
I never even heard of anybody hearing of a doctor saying that.
Right.
And buddy, they weren't kidding. It felt like, there's a 7-inch scar on my neck. They pretty much filleted me in the back. I think what they did was cut my head off, take out what was damaged, and sew my head back on. Because that's the way it felt like to me. And this nurse comes in about 2 days in, and she goes, "You're developing pneumonia. We got to get you up and get you walking." Well, bullshit. She started cranking that bed up, man, and it felt like somebody with the strength of, Braun Strowman or something just took a knife and sliced the back of my neck and has taken those big paws of his and just ripping my neck open. That's what it felt like when they started cranking that bed up. I got nothing to compare to. A red hot poker, maybe cattle prod in the back of the neck might be something to compare to. And I got a pretty good threshold for pain. And buddy, nothing that had ever happened to me could scratch the surface of what I was going through. Unbearable. And she just started to crank up, and I started screaming, and we stopped it right there. And, the nurse was a hard ass. I know she was trying to do her job and trying to help me. And she said, "Okay, I'll let this be it for today, but by tomorrow you've got to be up and you got to be walking. Well, her shift ended. Somebody came in again and they started cranking the bed up. And by cranking it up, I'm saying to like a setting up position, which was causing the weight of my arms to pull down on the incision. Mm. And if you could picture that, and all I could think to do was just hug myself. You know, it was like, okay, well, I hugged myself, and it took a little bit of the pressure off. But man, it was so acute and so sharp and so burning, the pain. I wish I had a dictionary which was a little more educated, that I could explain to everyone listening out there just how serious this was. And I'm sure I am screaming and hollering and sweating. The next day, next shift comes on and they say, you've got pneumonia. We got to get you up, get you walking. And it was a gentleman this time. It was a male nurse. And he started to crank that bed up. And I looked at him. I just asked what his name was. I said, please, you're hurting me. Please do not crank that bed up. He stopped. He looked at the sheet, I guess, on what the meds were that they were giving me. And I never have had a large threshold to downers or any of that stuff. That was not my bag. Never took Valium or any of that bullshit. So he goes, I'm going to try something different. So he gave me two blue Valium, I guess. They're 10 milligrams apiece, and a Percocet, all in one time. He says, I want to try this, drink this, washed it down. He said, I'll be back and see you in a little bit. He came back in about an hour and a half. Well, it was easing off. I guess, I don't know what that combination was, but it eased off the pain enough that he got me cranked up and got my legs over the side of the bed. And that was step one. And he said to me, I said, yesterday, this would not have been possible. So whatever you gave me is at least helping. I said, but I can't stand up. There's no way. He said, I know that. This is as far as we're going to go. I'll be back in. See you later tonight. I'm going to ask to come back, on a later shift. That evening, he at least got me standing. Progressed to the next time he was working, I think, which would have been the next afternoon. He came in and we actually got 1 or 2 steps, and it just progressed from there. And he took over my care, and I give that gentleman the credit for possibly saving my life. Just knowing what to give me, how to be slow with me, and, because all he sees is this big wrestler laying there who claims he's such a badass all these years that he's been watching on TV and how tough I was and all that bullshit, reduced to just a damn bag of crying and a bag of feeling sorry for myself. And to be honest with you, I wanted to kill myself.